I've thought about quitting so many times. And you said something that really moved me, Brian, which was, Alex, you know what? I do not need to do this. I do not necessarily have to want to do this, but I get to do this. And really, that simple sentence has been going through my head ever since. And is that kind of what you said, the perseverance of how you just like in the lowest moments, you still felt like I need to do this for the community, I need to do this for whatever purpose you had at that specific time and now?
Those first few years of London Real were really hard, and I'm sure we'll talk about that. But it was a lot of times where I was just doubting myself. I was alone in that studio. I wasn't making any money. I had just adopted, my stepdaughter, and I was just thinking, and everyone thought I was crazy, My friends and family didn't support me at all. They didn't really want to even watch the shows. And there were some low moments where it was really easy to say, why am I doing this? And no one's watching it. And to get into this complaining mode. And then I think I had a realization one day that might or might not have been helped by a psychedelic experience that said, no, Brian, you don't have to do London Real. You get to do London Real. And it's like, makes me emotional to think that way. Like, it's your honor to do this every single day. You shouldn't expect to get paid for it or anyone to watch or whatever. It's your honor to present these people's stories to the world. And as soon as I had that change of frame of reference, everything changed. One of my favorite guests on the show, John Joseph, who forced me to do an Ironman race on a vegan diet, he said, gratitude is attitude. And that's everything. You can be a billionaire and be grumpy. You can be broke and be happy. So it's like, can you be grateful for the things you have and the challenges that life serves you? Life's going to throw you big ass curveballs, and there are growth opportunities, or they're a reason for you to quit. So it's like, what do you want to see them as? And so, again, part of my evolution in London Real is thinking different. So now I try, not always successfully, when I get a big problem, I try to think, what's life trying to help me grow at? And then how can I turn this into a positive? How can I turn this into a win? But in the early days, that was really hard. It was hard to keep going.
I can imagine. Gratitude is attitude. That is such a good quote, by the way. And Brian, should we just dive deep into it and look at some of the craziest moments as we kick off?
Yeah, let's do
Anything
that,
to say before that?
It's really weird. People always say, what are you doing here? Because I come from San Diego, California. So I come from a place that's just sunny all the time. A lot of the guys I went to high school with surf, and they stayed there to surf. It's a very different mentality. And people see me now, I'm dressed in 3-piece suits, and they're like, what are you doing here? But for me, like, London feels like my home. This place has like my DNA in it. And so ever since I got here and moved here permanently in 2002, this is home to me. Like, this feels like my place, my people. And so, I started in California, went to school out in Boston at MIT, went to Wall Street. But when I finally got to London, this place really resonated with me. And so to then express it as my show, London Real, and to do some of the things that we've done in this city, it just all feels right. So again, don't let the accent fool you. I'm a Londoner. And I get a lot of people coming to me up the streets that weren't necessarily born in this country, and they say, they get emotional. They say, Brian, I'm a Londoner too. And again, I think it's this vibe of this city. it's optimistic. It respects our past. It looks to the future. Anybody can be anything here. And it really resonates with me. So that's why I'm here. I named the show London Real because I always thought London was the greatest brand name you could ever create. And what we were doing was going to be real. So that's why I created that show. And 10 years later, I guess we're going to talk about it a little bit today.